Previously, Fang Yuan defended his tavern and crushed Man Shi before the eyes of the clan. Now his reputation begins to spread, the merchant caravan arrives ahead of time and a new chance for power appears before him, with the liquor worm, the red iron relic Gu, and the hidden stone forest waiting ahead. Fang Yuan moves one step closer to breaking through his limits. Let us continue with Reverend Insanity, Episode 11. Gu Yue Man Shi had suffered a humiliating defeat at the hands of the newcomer, Fang Yuan. The news spread quickly, stirring up a small storm among the rank 2 Gu masters. Both people involved were fairly well known. Man Shi was a rank 2 Gu master with a certain reputation. 2 years ago, he had escaped death from Bai Ningbing's hands. No one could look down on him. As for Fang Yuan, he was this year's academy champion. During the year-end examination, many people had personally seen him defeat Fang Zhang. After that, because he inherited his parents' estate and became wealthy overnight, even more people looked at him with envy. The gap between the two should have been obvious. Yet Man Shi, the stronger and more experienced one, had lost to the seemingly weaker Fang Yuan. Such a reversal truly opened many people's eyes. A great number of people went around asking what had happened, and because of this, Fang Yuan's reputation spread even farther. The rank 2 Gu masters began to look seriously at this young junior. He attacked without even saying a word. Young people really are too impulsive. He has wealth now and he has successfully refined the moon Mangu. He does have some ability. That one is a madman, ruthless in how he acts. I heard that after Gu Yue Man Shi fled in defeat, he had to lie in bed and recover for 3 whole days. Everyone discussed Fang Yuan. During the fight with Man Shi, Fang Yuan had struck first without warning and taken the initiative. His first attack had heavily injured Man Shi, creating an enormous advantage. In that sense, his victory did not look particularly heroic, but victory was victory, defeat was defeat, the result said everything. On Earth, many people might care about the process more than the outcome. But in this world where life was harsh, survival was difficult, and danger lurked everywhere, victory meant survival. Defeat meant death, loss, and being stripped of everything. The principle of winner takes all and the loser loses everything was deeply accepted by most people here. Fang Yuan had won. No matter how it happened, that was the truth. A newcomer had risen, stepping on Man Shi's shoulders, and officially entered everyone's field of vision. As for Man Shi, he had become Fang Yuan's stepping stone. His reputation collapsed in an instant. After returning, he resigned from his position as team leader. This was the ending of the defeated. Relatives might sympathize with a loser like him, but the crowd would always worship and acknowledge the victor more. The victor represented strength. And strength meant everyone's lives were safer. After this matter, Gu Yudong too finally understood the situation and stopped his petty schemes. Man Shi's ending made this shrewd uncle realize reality at last. Fang Yuan had grown up. This was a fact that left him helpless, resentful, and unwilling. He knew that he could no longer take back the inheritance. Continuing to fight over it no longer held any meaning. He had to rely on his social connections and spend money to hire others to cause trouble for Fang Yuan. That itself consumed primeval stones. Meanwhile, Fang Yuan now had resources flowing in continuously. If the deadlock continued, even if Dong Tu had saved a large amount of primeval stones, he would still be the one to lose in the end. He had lost the bamboo buildings, the tavern, and the 9-leaf vitality grass. He had become water without a source. Once his primeval stones were spent, they would be difficult to replenish. In contrast, although Fang Yuan lacked primeval stones for the moment, his income would gradually increase. More importantly, Gu Yudong too bitterly discovered that this confrontation brought him no benefit worth mentioning. Thus, after hearing that Man Shi had fled in defeat, he immediately stopped all these meaningless actions. In truth, when Fang Yuan resolved Fang Zheng's challenge, Dong Tu's failure had already been decided. Just like that, Fang Yuan's tavern could finally operate as normal. This could be considered a piece of good news. There was another joyful event as well. The merchant caravan had arrived early, March. Spring scenery was beautiful and the song of spring marched forward with light and cheerful steps. Spring returned, flowers bloomed, grass spread. Birds sang. On Qing Mao Mountain, everywhere one looked, tender green covered the land. On the slopes that faced the sun, wildflowers bloomed in clusters, forming bright and colorful seas of flowers. Streams of blossom colors flowed down the slopes like burning flames, shining together with the sunlight. The newly hatched dragonpill crickets gradually matured, forming new swarms that began to stir actively at night. During the day, flocks of painted parrot birds flew back and forth, gliding through the air and crying out with sharp, lively calls. The sky of spring gave its grace, and all living things shone with life. Through such scenery, a merchant caravan slowly entered Qing Mao Mountain. Black-armored beetles crawled forward at a steady pace, their backs loaded with people and goods. Proud ostrich chickens with bright, neat feathers pulled cart after cart. Enormous mountain spiders walked across the land without caring about the terrain. Winged snakes twisted their bodies as they slithered forward, sometimes opening their wings and flying for a short distance. Leading the caravan was a treasure brass toad. It stood 2.5 meters tall with orange skin. Sitting on top of it was the rank 4 expert Gu Fu. After learning that the merchant caravan had entered the village, Fang Yuan secretly let out a breath. It has changed again. In my memories from my previous life, this caravan should have arrived in summer. According to the usual pattern of previous years, it should also have come in summer. But now it has arrived 2 or 3 months early. It is only spring, yet it is already here, and the scale is even larger. Fang Yuan's rebirth had changed his own circumstances, and at the same time it had affected the surroundings, causing the future to shift. The true source of this change was still the death of Gu Jinsheng. After Fang Yuan deceived everyone, Gu Fu mistakenly believed that Gu Jinsheng's death was a conspiracy arranged by his competitor, Gu Gui. After returning to his clan, Gu Fu took a series of aggressive measures. This made the competition between the brothers even more intense. In order to produce better trading results this year, before the snow had even fully melted, the Gu family brothers had already rushed out, each leading their own merchant caravans across different regions. Clan leader Gu Yue Man received Gu Fu personally. Both rank 4 Gu masters were the leaders of their respective sides. Brother Gu Yu, it has been a long time. I hope you have been well, Gu Fu said with a warm smile. He was full of enthusiasm, but a long fresh scar had appeared across his face. Ha ha ha. Brother Gu Fu, you have come very early this year, Gu Yue Man said. He looked at the scar on Gu Fu's face. His thoughts shifted, but he did not ask about it. The early bird catches the worms. This time I brought many valuable goods. I believe the Gu Yu clan will have great need for them. In order to achieve outstanding trading results, Gu Fu had invested heavily this time. Oh, that is indeed good news. Gu Yue Man's eyes shone slightly, and he continued, as it happens, the day after tomorrow is our clan's awakening ceremony. Brother Gu, I invite you to attend as a guest. Haha, to witness the prosperity of the Gu Yu clan is truly my honor. Gu Fu immediately cupped his fists and said sincerely. Inviting an outsider to observe the clan's awakening ceremony meant that this outsider was being treated as an honored guest. From this invitation, Gu Fu could feel the sincerity of the Gu Yu clan. In truth, there is another matter, Gu Fu said, hesitating as if he wished to speak but found it difficult. Honored guest, you have come from far away. If you have any request, please speak freely. Our clan will do its best to assist, Gu Yue Man said. Gu Fu sighed. It is still about Gu Jinsheng. This time, I specially brought several skilled investigators from my clan. I hope they can uncover something. Gu Yue Man immediately showed an expression of understanding. It seemed that Gu Jinsheng's death had put Gu Fu into a passive position in the competition over the family inheritance. It was said that after returning to his clan, Gu Fu and Gu Gui had argued in public. After that, a fierce fight had even broken out between them. The scar on Gu Fu's face was very likely left behind from that battle. It was no wonder he had rushed over at the start of spring. One could imagine how heavy the pressure on Gu Fu's shoulders had become. Fang Yuan leisurely strolled through the caravan's market. The scale of this year's merchant caravan was larger than any previous year. There were not only more tents but also a Gu house. Gu houses were things only large caravans possessed. Usually, a large caravan would have 2 or 3 Gu houses. Gu Fu's caravan could at most be considered medium-sized, yet it already had 1 Gu house. This Gu house was a great tree. It was 18 meters tall, a truly enormous tree. Its roots were thick and strong, coiling together like dragons and snakes. A small part of the root system was exposed above the ground, while most of it pierced deep into the soil. The base of the trunk was 10 meters in diameter. It grew thinner as it rose, but the change was not obvious. The trunk was brown and it was not solid. Inside, it contained 3 layers of space. Windows had been opened on the surface of the trunk. Sunlight and fresh air passed through the frames and entered the space within. The branches of the great tree were sparse, and the leaves also seemed rather thin. Only the crown was like a canopy, spreading out in a dense, lush green mass. When the spring wind blew, the leaves trembled and made soft rustling sounds. This was one of the most common types of Gu houses. It was a rank 3 wood-type Gu named the 3-Star Cave. It was planted by a logistics Gu master, and under the watering of primeval essence, it grew in an instant. The 3 spaces inside the trunk were 3 rooms arranged one above another. Its defensive strength was far beyond anything an ordinary tent could compare to. Among the many rows of tents, this great tree stood tall like a small tower, making one think of a crane standing among chickens. At the base of the great tree, there was a door wide enough for 2 people to enter side by side. Fang Yuan followed the crowd inside. The 3 floors of the tree house had all been converted into shop spaces. On one counter after another, all kinds of Gu worms were displayed. These counters were made of wood and were also part of the great tree. Green branches and leaves grew on their surfaces. The 3-Star Cave tree Gu could grow into specific shapes according to the will of the Gu master controlling it. Aside from the counters, there were round stools and long benches for customers to use while resting. A rank 3 logistics Gu master was somewhere inside the great tree, constantly monitoring and controlling it. If anyone tried to snatch a Gu worm from a counter, that Gu master would manipulate the tree and close the main door at the base of the trunk. In an instant, the whole place would become a sealed chamber. Countless branches would grow wildly, forming a dense attack. At the same time, the Gu masters stationed in the treehouse would also enter the battle. The treehouse was far safer than the tents, so the goods traded inside were much more valuable. The moment Fang Yuan entered the first floor, he saw that at the center, on a single isolated counter, a liquor worm was quietly lying there. Many Gu masters had already gathered around it, commenting on it or sighing with admiration. Fang Yuan swept his gaze around. On the other counters, there were also many relatively valuable Gu worms, such as the Jade Skin Gu, Whirlwind Gu, Silver Stone Gu, and others. These Gu worms could all be paired with the Moonlight Gu and refined into higher-rank Gu worms. Although Gu Fu did not know all these refinement recipes, after so many years of trading, he had accumulated experience. He knew which Gu worms the Gu Yu clan needed. Gu Fu is naturally not only trading with Gu Yu village. From this, it can be seen that this time, he has truly mobilized all his strength. It seems that after returning home, he suffered quite a blow, Fang Yuan thought as he looked around. Liquor worm, Fang Yuan murmured softly. He walked to the central counter. As long as he obtained this liquor worm, and then added 4 fine wines with the flavors sour, sweet, bitter, and spicy. He could refine the 4 flavors liquor worm. Of course, this refinement still had a chance of failure. But if Fang Yuan did not have a second liquor worm, he would not even have the chance to try. Life was like this. Hard work did not guarantee good results. It did not guarantee success. But without effort, failure was certain. The demonic path was the same. Most people of the demonic path were good at trampling through thorns, charging forward with courage. To most people, this seemed extreme and reckless. Before this, I was still worried about how to find a second liquor worm. I did not expect fate to deliver one right in front of me. The opportunity is before my eyes. How can I let it go? I must obtain this liquor worm. A resolute light flashed through Fang Yuan's eyes. If my cultivation were rank 4 or rank 5 and my battle strength were powerful, then I would not waste a single word. I would simply take it by force. If God blocked me, I would kill God. If Buddha blocked me, I would kill Buddha. If I were rank 3 or rank 4 with more methods at my disposal, I could steal it without anyone knowing. Unfortunately, right now, I am only rank 2 and merely at the initial stage. Fang Yuan sighed inwardly. Then I can only honestly buy it. He glanced at the price written on the counter. Liquor worm 500 primeval stones. The normal market price of a liquor worm was 580 primeval stones. The marked price here was actually 80 primeval stones lower than the market price. But if Fang Yuan truly thought he could spend 500 primeval stones and buy this liquor worm, then his 500 years of previous life would have been lived in vain. The price was deliberately marked low because Gu Fu wanted to attract attention, stir people's desire to buy, and draw out competitive bids. Grandmother, I didn't expect this liquor worm to only cost 500 primeval stones. A young girl said as she walked over, her eyes shone brightly. She shook the arm of the person beside her. Grandmother, tomorrow is the awakening ceremony. Didn't you promise to give me a gift? Why don't you buy this liquor worm for me? The girl's grandmother wore a white belt. At the front of the belt was a square silver plate, engraved with the large character 3. Once a Gu master cultivated to rank 3, they would automatically rise to the position of clan elder. But among elders there were also differences. Some were powerful elders who held authority. Others were not and only managed less profitable departments. This rank 3 old woman was clearly not one of those powerless elders. Gu Yue Jai, Fang Yuan recognized her. This woman was the elder of the medicine hall. The medicine hall was the logistics center of the entire clan. It could be called the most profitable department. Gu Yue Jai had great seniority. Even when facing the clan leader, she did not have to bow and could sit while answering him. She was the #1 healing Gu master in the clan and had once saved the lives of many elders. Her network within the clan was extremely strong. Good. Since my good granddaughter wants it, grandmother will buy it for you. The old woman's face was covered in wrinkles and her back was bent. She held a walking stick in one hand and sighed helplessly, smiling kindly. Grandmother is the best. I knew grandmother understood me the most. The girl happily hugged Gu Yue Jai on the spot, puckering her little lips and kissing her grandmother on the cheek. Grandmother, let's call the shop attendant and quickly buy this liquor worm. Gu Yue Jai shook her head. Good granddaughter, the Gu worms here cannot be bought that way. Grandmother will teach you. Do you see the stack of paper and brush on the counter? The girl nodded innocently. I see them. Gu Yue Jai said, go and take a sheet of paper. Use the brush to write the price you want to offer for this liquor worm. Then place the paper into the hole at the side of the counter. If your price is the highest among all who wish to buy it, then the liquor worm will belong to you. So that's how it works. How interesting. The girl picked up a sheet of bamboo paper and lifted the brush, but when she was about to write, she hesitated. She frowned her lovely brows and thought hard for a long while. Finally, she pouted and asked, Grandmother, should I write a very high price? I'm afraid that if the price is too low, someone else will buy the liquor worm. But if the price is much higher than everyone else's, won't we suffer a loss? Gu Yue Jai laughed and deliberately teased her. Buying the liquor worm is not that easy. So I will have to rely on my good granddaughter, grandmother. The girl whined, hugging Gu Yue Jai's arm and shaking it. All right, stop shaking me. Grandmother's bones are about to fall apart, the old woman sighed. Grandmother will help you write it. The girl immediately jumped in joy and called sweetly, I knew grandmother was the best to me. Gu Yue Jai lifted the brush and wrote down a price. She also wrote her name on the paper. The girl watched carefully from the side. After the old woman finished writing, she folded the paper and winked at the girl. Go on, put this paper inside. The girl obediently took it, found the square hole at the side of the counter, and pushed the paper inside. She returned to Gu Yue Jai's side and asked with some worry, Grandmother, is that all? The old woman nodded. That should be enough. But worldly matters are difficult to predict. Perhaps someone will offer a price higher than grandmother's. But that price would be much higher. If someone really offers more than grandmother, then that person is truly a fool with too much money. Don't worry. This matter is almost certain, The girl nodded, her expression adorable. Let's go. Come with grandmother to the upper floor and take a look. Yes, grandmother. Watching the backs of the grandmother and granddaughter disappear, Fang Yuan's gaze became solemn. This Gu Yue Jai was indeed a powerful competitor to him. He could not underestimate her. But Fang Yuan had long anticipated and prepared for such a situation. The liquor worm was precious. Although it only had an effect on rank 1 Gu masters, its ability to refine primeval essence was truly excellent. Refining primeval essence and raising it by a small realm meant increasing the reserve of primeval essence in another form. It also greatly helped a Gu master's cultivation progress. Its only flaw was that its future prospects were not good. According to the most widely circulated advancement recipe, the liquor worm was merely a refinement material. The newly refined Gu would no longer have the ability to refine primeval essence. That was too much of a pity. It could even be considered losing more than one gained. Because of this, many clans that possessed liquor worms did not refine them further. Instead, they kept them for the academy, specially allowing new students to take turns using them. If Fang Yuan revealed his own advancement recipe, the value of the liquor worm would definitely multiply several times over. Obtaining this liquor worm will not be easy. The grandmother and granddaughter are only one competitor. I wonder how many other competitors have already placed bids in this counter. The liquor worm was a good thing. Good things naturally attracted desire from all sides. Among the competitors, some truly wanted to buy it, while others merely wanted to try their luck. Some were wealthy, like Gu Yue Jai. Others were financially weaker, like Fang Yuan. Fortunately, I reclaimed the inheritance. These past few days, I sold rank 1 vitality leaves, and I also collected income from the tavern and bamboo buildings. I have accumulated some primeval stones. Otherwise, I would not even have the qualifications to compete. But in the end, the time he had spent accumulating wealth was too short. In addition, he had many Gu worms to feed. In terms of assets, how could he compare to a clan elder like Gu Yue Jai? Sai, let's go. Elder Yao Jai just placed her bid right in front of everyone. I saw it too. It seems this liquor worm has no fate with me. The Gu masters surrounding the counter left one after another in low spirits. Only Fang Yuan remained standing there. His dark eyes glimmered with cold light. The Gu masters who left had been scared away by Gu Yue Jai's presence and had withdrawn on their own. But how could Fang Yuan be scared away? Sometimes opportunity is right in front of people, but they give it up themselves. I still have a chance. Thoughts turned in his mind as Fang Yuan sank into contemplation. If it was a competition of wealth, Fang Yuan was absolutely no match for Gu Yue Jai. However, that did not mean the price Gu Yue Jai offered would definitely be higher than Fang Yuan's. The liquor worm was valuable, but in the end, it was still a rank 1 Gu worm. The price of any item was not fixed, but it also would not rise or fall without limit. Every fluctuation happened within a certain range. So the key question now was this: how much had Gu Yue Jai bid? She was not short of money. For the sake of her beloved granddaughter, how much would she be willing to offer? As long as Fang Yuan's bid was higher by even a little, he would win. This was a different kind of battle. The strong did not necessarily win. The weak did not necessarily lose. Guessing and gambling revealed the unique character of this contest. If it were someone else, they might not see through it. Gu Yue Jai, those words you deliberately said were meant to scare away some competitors, weren't they? But before me, you are still too inexperienced. The corner of Fang Yuan's mouth lifted slightly, revealing a confident smile. Trade in this world was truly interesting. On Earth, if a seller wanted to sell a rare Gu worm like the liquor worm, they would usually use the auction format. But in this world, auctions were not popular. The main reason was that kinship and clan unity were considered supreme if an auction were organized. Then toward an outsider like Gu Fu, the members of the clan would subconsciously share the feeling of facing a common enemy. Once the price of an auction item rose too high, many competitors would automatically withdraw. They might even negotiate peacefully among themselves, making certain compromises, exchanges, or compensation of benefits. People in this world almost all shared one view. Losing to one's own people did not matter, but allowing an outsider to profit was a humiliation for the entire clan. Unless several clans participated in an auction at the same time, in which case competition would naturally arise and the smell of gunpowder would become thick. But such auctions were difficult to organize. The reason was transportation. Transportation was the foundation of commerce. Without developed transportation, commerce would decline. After all, commerce was the circulation of goods. Each village occupied its own mountain. The distance between villages was far, and the roads were difficult to travel. Between them were beast groups, steep slopes, rocky cliffs, harsh weather, and dangerous wild goo worms. The journey was full of hardship and risk. With transportation so inconvenient, it was extremely difficult to gather people from different places to attend an auction. Even on Qing Mao Mountain, where 3 clan villages stood relatively close to one another, Gu Fu would not dare to organize an auction. First, where would it be held? Holding it in the wild was unsafe. Holding it in Gu Yu village would make the other 2 sides uneasy. Gu Fu was only rank 4. The clan leaders of the 3 villages were also rank 4. He could not suppress the situation alone. Compared to Earth, commerce in this world was not developed, but it had its own rules. In his previous life, relying on commercial concepts from Earth, Fang Yuan made money, but he also suffered many losses. After experiencing countless lessons paid for in blood and tears, he drew accurate understanding from practice. By combining Earth's rich and complete commercial theories with his own practical experience, it would not be an exaggeration to say that Fang Yuan's understanding of commerce in this world had reached a first-rate level. An old woman who had lived her whole life in a mountain village and had never even left Qing Mao Mountain wanted to stop him from obtaining the liquor worm. "Old woman, you are still too young." "Grandmother, what goo is this?" The young girl asked curiously, pointing at the central counter on the 3rd floor. The tree house was divided into 3 floors. The first floor specialized in rank 1 goo worms. The second floor sold rank 2 goo worms. The third floor sold rank 3 goo worms. The higher the floor, the fewer the goo worms and the more expensive they became. Naturally, any goo worm that could be displayed for sale inside the treehouse was relatively rare. Gu Yue Jai followed her granddaughter's gaze. She saw a tall and thin tree stump shaped like a round barrel. 5 leaf branches grew from the stump like 5 human fingers, weaving together at the center. A round goo worm about the size of a thumb was wrapped by the tiny branches, half hidden beneath the green leaves, emitting silver-white light. This is the white-silver relic goo. It can only be used once. It can instantly raise the cultivation of a rank 3 goo master by 1 small realm, Gu Yue Jai slowly explained. The relic goo was a series of goo worms. Rank 1 was the green copper relic goo, used specifically by rank 1 goo masters. Rank 2 was the red steel relic goo, effective only for rank 2 goo masters. And rank 3 was this white silver relic goo. At rank 4, there was also the yellow gold relic goo. The marked price is 30,000 primeval stones, so expensive. The girl was startled and stuck out her tongue. Gu Yue Jai nodded. The final selling price of this goo worm will be at least 50,000 primeval stones. All right, we have looked around long enough. Let us go to the main display counter at the entrance on the 1st floor. The result for the liquor worm should be out by now. For a rank 1 goo worm inside the treehouse, as long as someone placed a bid, it would only be displayed for half a day. Rank 2 goo worms were displayed for 1 day. Rank 3 goo worms were displayed for 2 days. Goo worms that no one showed interest in would continue to be displayed until someone offered a price. This rule seemed rather strange at first glance, but in truth, it was the most suitable trading method refined through practice. At the main display counter, what? The liquor worm has already been bought by someone else. After receiving the result, Gu Yue Jai immediately frowned. She felt that the price she had offered was already high. She had at least 80 to 90% confidence in obtaining the liquor worm. Yet unexpectedly she had failed. HMPH. Who is so bad stealing my little liquor worm? The girl asked angrily. Yaola, Gu Yue Jai reminded her. The young girl pouted her little cherry lips and obediently said no more. The shop attendant behind the counter was a rank 2 female Gu master. She bowed slightly and answered the girl's question. Very sorry, but all customer information is kept confidential. Every line of work has its rules, please forgive us. It was precisely because the information was not revealed that customers could put aside their worries and freely place bids. Sometimes people clearly wanted many things, but because of face, they could only yield. After all, members of the same clan saw each other often. But by using this kind of hidden trading method, matters of face could be avoided. Why should such a good thing be given to you just because you are my friend, relative, or elder? Never underestimate the darkness in people's hearts. Private transactions were able to clearly reveal this dark side. Gu Yue Jai pondered for a moment. This old woman knows the rules. Rest assured, young lady, I am not asking for the name of the person who bought the liquor worm. I only want to ask the final sale price. The female Gu master bowed again. I am truly sorry. The sale price must also remain confidential. But the final transaction price was definitely the highest price. Please rest assured. The Gu family has always conducted business with sincerity as its foundation. HMPH, little girl, do you know who I am? Gu Yue Jai's expression darkened and she snorted in displeasure. What happened here? At this moment, a middle-aged male rank 3 Gu master hurried over. This treehouse was always under the supervision of Gu masters. If anything happened, they naturally knew very quickly. Manager, the female Gu master immediately greeted him. The man waved his hand at her. You may step down for now, I will handle this. Then he turned toward Gu Yue Jai and smiled. So it is Elder Yao Jai. This must be your granddaughter. She is truly clever and adorable. Seeing that the man was also a rank 3 Gu master, Gu Yue Jai's expression eased, but she still wanted to know the final sale price. The manager felt slightly troubled. He was an old hand in the caravan and one of Gu Fu's trusted subordinates. After many years of trade, he had a deep understanding of Gu Yu village situation and knew very well the status of the old woman before him. For them, even offending Gu Yu Kai Lion or Gu Yu Mo Chen was preferable to offending Gu Yue Jai. Her influence was second only to clan leader Gu Yu Bo. The manager thought for a moment, then said, how about this? Since Elder Yao Jai wishes to buy a liquor worm, I will take the liberty of secretly bringing another one out for you. To be honest, there are still 3 liquor worms in storage. Each is to be sold at a different location. All of this was personally decided by Lord Gu Fu. You should also know how precious liquor worms are. As for the price, it can be based on the price you offered. But Gu Yue Jai shook her head and tapped the ground once with her walking stick, making a light clack. She said, this old woman does not take advantage of such things. The price should be calculated according to the final price of that liquor worm just now. The manager hesitated. He naturally understood Gu Yue Jai's true purpose. Gu Yue Jai showed displeasure and continued to pressure him. What is it? Could that price be very high? Are you afraid this old woman cannot afford it? Of course not, sigh. Very well, we will do as you say. The manager sighed and revealed the purchase price. After hearing it, the young girl first let out a breath of relief, but then she became somewhat unwilling. What? It was only 20 primeval stones more than ours. Gu Yue Jai narrowed her eyes but did not speak. At the same time, after leaving the treehouse, Fang Yuan had already gone to the wine shops. The second liquor worm was already in his hands. Now he only lacked the 4 fine wines, sour, sweet, bitter, and spicy. I already have sweet wine. When I completed the inheritance mission earlier, quite a bit of golden honey wine remained. Spicy wine and sour wine are not a problem either. The worry now is bitter wine, Fang Yuan thought, a hint of concern in his heart. If he had bitter wine, he could begin refining the 4 flavors liquor worm tonight. If he did not have it, who knew how long he would have to wait? Many things in life were like this. The more one feared something, the more likely it was to happen. Fang Yuan's concern became reality. He spent several hours walking through countless tents, finding spicy wine and sour wine, but he could not find bitter wine. In worldly affairs, 8 or 9 out of 10 things will not go as one wishes, Fang Yuan thought helplessly. Thus, he had no choice but to temporarily set aside the plan of refining the liquor worm. Without the 4 flavors liquor worm, his cultivation speed would be very ordinary. That afternoon, he returned to the treehouse. Many counters on the first floor had already been updated with new Gu worms. The central counter where the liquor worm had been placed was now occupied by a clear water Gu. The clear water Gu looked like a leech from Earth. But it was far cuter than a leech. Its entire body was light blue and shone as if made of water. The clear water Gu can remove foreign aura inside the aperture. For Kai Cheng, it is a Gu worm he absolutely must have. Upon seeing the clear water Gu, Fang Yuan immediately thought of Kai Cheng. He knew Kai Cheng only had C-grade aptitude, and relied on his grandfather Gu Yu Kai Lion's primeval essence to forcefully raise his cultivation. Because of this, Kai Lion's aura was mixed into Kai Cheng's aperture. If it was not cleansed, it would greatly damage Kai Cheng's future development. Kai Lion will definitely buy this Gu worm for Kai Cheng. Let me calculate, The price he offers should be between 630 to 640 primeval stones. This price was even higher than the market price of the liquor worm. The main reason was still that Kai Cheng needed this Gu worm very badly. If I offer 650, I can snatch this clear water Gu. If I add another 10 primeval stones, then this clear water Gu will certainly fall into my hands. As for the liquor worm I bought this morning, the price I gave should have been about 20 primeval stones more than Gu Yu Yao Jai's. Fang Yuan sneered inwardly. He had this confidence. This confidence came from his 500 years of experience, combined with commercial theories that were several times more developed on Earth. According to Fang Yuan's practical experience in his previous life, usually, if he added 10 extra primeval stones, he had an 80% certainty of obtaining the item. When buying the liquor worm earlier, the reason he added 20 primeval stones was purely because of Fang Yuan's cautious style. In the end, Fang Yuan did not make a bid. The clear water Gu was not something he needed. Moreover, if he obtained it, it would invite Kai Lion's investigation. Of course, the most important reason was that Fang Yuan needed to save his money and see whether better Gu worms would appear in the next few days. Right now, I lack 2 types of Gu worms. One for scouting and one for movement support. Next year, the wolf tide will erupt on Qing Mao Mountain, and the merchant caravan will not return. Although there is the flower wine traveler's inheritance, that was only something the flower wine traveler hurriedly left behind after being injured. Who knows whether it is complete? And who knows what Gu worm will appear next? In his memories, next year's wolf tide was extremely dangerous. Fang Yuan did not want to end up lacking Gu worms and being unable to deal with the situation, leading to injury, crippling, or even death in the wolf tide. With his current state, if he fell into a wolf pack's encirclement, he would basically have more misfortune than fortune. Therefore, before that, he had to prepare as thoroughly as possible. Cultivation and Gu worms neither could be missing. From then on, for 3 consecutive days, he repeatedly went to the treehouse. On the 3rd day on the first floor of the treehouse, he was delighted to discover a black boar Gu. Black and white boar Gu were both Gu worms that could fundamentally increase a Gu master's strength. Fang Yuan had already used the white boar Gu and gained the strength of 1 boar. If he used a second white boar Gu, there would be no additional effect. But the black boar Gu was different. The strength of the black boar Gu and white boar Gu could stack. Thus, by noon, another Gu worm entered his hands. After that, there was nothing. Some scouting and movement support Gu worms appeared on the counters, but none satisfied Fang Yuan. These Gu worms were displayed on ordinary counters, and their prices were not good. Not many people bought them. Fang Yuan then heard that this time, the merchant caravan would stay for 8 days. Therefore, he remained patient and waited without impatience. It was not until the 7th day. On the 2nd floor of the treehouse, Fang Yuan discovered a red steel relic Gu. This was something used by rank 2 Gu masters. It could instantly raise one's cultivation by 1 small realm. It was marked at 3,000 primeval stones, drawing countless rank 2 Gu masters into competition. They all placed their bidding slips into the counter, and the scene was extremely heated. If I obtain this red steel relic Gu, I can immediately push my cultivation to middle stage. With middle stage scarlet primeval essence, whether it is the moon Mang Gu or the white jade Gu, I will be able to activate them many more times. Cultivation was the foundation of a Gu master. Once cultivation increased, battle strength rose with it. In terms of effectiveness, it was even better than Fang Yuan adding scouting and movement Gu worms. Moreover, the Gu worms of those 2 types currently present in the treehouse were all ordinary goods to Fang Yuan. None of them truly caught his eye. But earlier I bought the liquor worm and the black boar Gu. I also purchased some wine. The final price of the red steel relic Gu will definitely exceed 5,000 primeval stones. It may even reach around 8,000. After all, everyone knows the wolf tide is approaching. Raising oneself by one small realm at this time will greatly help survival. If I want to obtain the relic Gu, my primeval stones are probably not enough. In an instant, Fang Yuan realized the difficult problem before him. Although he had inherited his parents' estate, to Fang Yuan, the time he had spent accumulating wealth was still too short. Producing vitality leaves was not something he did every day. After all, it consumed a great deal of time. Usually, producing 9 vitality leaves would cost him almost half a day. Fang Yuan considered for a moment. The selling time for this red steel relic Gu would only last 1 day. If he wanted to gather a large number of primeval stones within such a short period of time, the only method was to mortgage the tavern or bamboo buildings in his hands. This was nothing to feel regret over. 1 year later would be the wolf tide. In his memories under the siege of the wolf packs, Gu Yu village shook several times and nearly collapsed. The most dangerous time was when the village gate was broken open. The clan leader and elders restrained the Thunder Crown Wolf, while Gu Yu King Shu used his life to block the gate, barely stabilizing the situation. The wolf tide caused the 3 great clans of Qing Mao Mountain to suffer a drastic reduction in population. Although it was not to the point where 9 out of 10 people died, at least half the population was lost. At that time, there would be more houses than people. Who would still speak of renting bamboo buildings? The tavern was close to the eastern gate. Who would dare go to the front line to drink wine? Even if someone wanted to drink, the tavern would be requisitioned by the clan long before then and converted into a defensive tower. At present, many people in the clan still underestimated the severity of the wolf tide. If he threw out the tavern and bamboo buildings now, he could instead sell them for the highest price. Wealth is only an external possession. One's own cultivation is the foundation. But selling to the clan would be somewhat cheap. Selling to an individual would bring a higher price. However, who currently has such a large amount of money and can buy my bamboo buildings and tavern? Such a large transaction cannot be completed after a single meeting. Both sides must inspect, negotiate, and bargain. This will consume too much time, and I only have 1 day. Wait. Perhaps there is only one person who can do it. A thought suddenly arose in Fang Yuan's mind. That person was none other than his uncle, Gu Yu Dong II. Uncle and aunt were shrewd and stingy. Over the past decade, they had managed the tavern, bamboo buildings, and vitality leaf business. They must have saved a large amount of money. Moreover, these properties had originally been managed by them. They understood them very well, saving the time needed for inspection. Most importantly, they were now urgently in need of property that could continue to operate. No matter how much money they had, without income, it was water without a source. Watching primeval stones decrease day by day would make anyone anxious. It could be said that uncle and aunt were the most suitable transaction partners at the moment. Thinking of this, Fang Yuan did not delay. He left the treehouse and went to Gu Yu Dong II's residence. The one who opened the door for him was Shen Kui, the maid who had once served him. Ah, it is you. Seeing Fang Yuan, she was very startled. But she quickly realized she had misspoken and turned pale with fear. Fang Yuan was now a rank 2 Gu master, she was only a mortal. The difference between them was now like the gap between heaven and earth. More importantly, Fang Yuan was a cruel person who dared even to kill a Mo family servant and return the chopped body to the Mo family. This servant greets young Master Fang Yuan. "Welcome home, young Master Fang Yuan." Shen Kui was so frightened that her whole body trembled. Her knees softened and she fell to the ground. Home. Fang Yuan stepped into the courtyard. He looked at everything familiar around him, and a trace of mockery appeared on his face. There was no emotion of nostalgia or attachment. After a year, he had come here once more. Compared with his memories, this place was clearly much quieter. Just as Fang Zheng had said, some servants had been sold off or dismissed. Fang Yuan's sudden arrival naturally alarmed his uncle and aunt. As the housekeeper, Nanny Shen was the first to arrive. She humbly welcomed Fang Yuan into the reception hall and personally served tea. Fang Yuan sat on a chair and looked around the reception hall. Many furnishings were gone and the arrangement was much simpler and plainer. But this did not mean uncle and aunt had no savings. Gu Yue Man Shi too is still very shrewd. This is his way of protecting himself. He has already retired and his battle strength declined long ago. Most importantly, he lost the 9-leaf vitality grass. That means he lost the trump card that maintained his social connections. He no longer has external influence. An innocent man invites disaster by carrying jade. After inheriting the estate, Fang Yuan made many clan members envious and greedy. Uncle and aunt also faced this problem. The large sum of money they held was both fortune and disaster. Do not reveal wealth. This was the correct way for them to survive. At this moment, a series of footsteps sounded. The footsteps drew closer and closer. Soon after, his aunt appeared at the doorway. "Fang Yuan, you still dare to come here?" The moment she saw Fang Yuan, she immediately exploded in anger and screamed, "You ungrateful wolf cub, husband and I raised you. How did we raise you, and this is how you treat us? Do you still have a conscience? Was your conscience eaten by dogs? And you still have the face to come here? You are even sitting there drinking tea. Did you come to see our miserable state? Now that you have seen it, are you satisfied?" She pointed one hand at Fang Yuan and placed the other on her waist, cursing like a shrew. If not for Fang Yuan's extremely eye-catching rank 2 Gu Master uniform reminding her of his status, she might have already pounced forward to tear and scratch at him. Fang Yuan was being pointed at and cursed by his aunt, but his expression did not change. It was as if he had not heard a thing. After a year apart, his aunt's face had turned yellow and withered. Although it was full of anger and viciousness, it still could not hide her haggardness. Her clothes had changed into plain hemp garments, and the ornaments on her head were fewer. She had applied no rouge or powder and looked ugly. Fang Yuan taking back, the inheritance had caused a great impact on her life. Toward her curses, Fang Yuan did not care in the slightest. He calmly lifted the teacup and took a sip, then said slowly, "I came this time because I want to sell the tavern and the bamboo buildings." "Are uncle and aunt interested, Pa?" "You white-eyed wolf, what good intentions could you possibly have? HMPH, you want to sell the tavern and bamboo buildings?" Aunt's voice suddenly stopped. She finally reacted. Her face showed disbelief. "What? You want to sell the tavern and bamboo buildings?" Fang Yuan placed the teacup down, leaned back against the chair, and closed his eyes to rest. "It is better to let uncle come speak with me." Aunt gnashed her teeth, still not believing him. Her eyes seemed to spit fire as she fiercely glared at Fang Yuan. She said through clenched teeth, "I understand now. You deliberately said this to provoke me, didn't you? Once I agree, you will mock and ridicule me. Do you truly think I am a fool to be played with like this?" This was simply the mind of a petty person. Fang Yuan sighed and said one sentence that immediately changed his aunt's attitude. "If you speak another useless word, I will leave. I believe others will also be interested in this estate. If I sell it to someone else, do not regret it later." His aunt immediately froze. "You really want to sell these properties?" "I will only wait 5 minutes, Fang Yuan said, opening his eyes slightly before closing them again. He heard his aunt stomp her foot, followed by hurried footsteps that quickly grew distant. Before long, Uncle Gu Yu Dong too appeared before Fang Yuan. Aunt did not come with him. Fang Yuan looked him over. Uncle had clearly aged a great deal. His face, once well cared for, had become thin, and there were many more white hairs at his temples. These days, he had been deeply troubled. After losing the inheritance, he had suddenly lost his source of income. Especially without the 9-leaf vitality grass, he had lost his outside influence. The title of Hidden Elder had become a name without substance. Although he held a large amount of savings without influence, those primeval stones became hot to the touch. The clan's policies subtly encouraged clansmen to compete over resources. The Gu battle policy in particular seemed heartless and inhumane, but it also prevented parasites and wastrels from appearing. It forced everyone in the clan to maintain a constant sense of vigilance, keeping the clan's battle strength in a strong state. In this world, only strong battle strength could guarantee survival. Storms, floods, and ferocious beasts did not reason with humans. Over these years, Gu Yudong too had lived comfortably, and his personal battle strength had long since declined. In order to reduce feeding expenses, he had already sold many useful Gu worms from his earlier years. If someone challenged him now, he would have more losses than victories. Facing Uncle, Fang Yuan directly stated his purpose. Fang Yuan, I will ask plainly. There is something I do not understand. Why must you sell the tavern and bamboo buildings? If you keep them, primeval stones will continuously flow in, Uncle said. He still found the matter hard to believe, but his tone was much gentler than Ant's. Because I want to buy a red steel relic Gu, Fang Yuan said directly. There was no need to hide this, so that is why, Uncle's eyes flashed. Then, do you also intend to sell the 9-leaf vitality grass? That is absolutely impossible, Fang Yuan shook his head without hesitation. I am only selling the tavern, the bamboo buildings, the farmland, and the 8 servants. The 9-leaf vitality grass was the most valuable item in the inheritance. Fang Yuan needed its healing effect. In addition, selling vitality leaves earned primeval stones that could support his cultivation and the feeding of other Gu worms. Furthermore, when the wolf tide struck next year, the price of vitality leaves would certainly soar. With the 9-leaf vitality grass in hand, Fang Yuan would not have to worry about primeval stones during rank 2 cultivation. But if Uncle obtained the 9-leaf vitality grass, his influence as the Hidden Elder would recover once more. Fang Yuan did not want to see such a thing happen. Seeing Fang Yuan's firm attitude, Gu Yudong too was very disappointed. At the same time, there was nothing he could do. The two sides held a secret discussion for more than 2 hours before signing a strict transfer agreement. Gu Yudong too regained the tavern, bamboo buildings, servants, and farmland. Fang Yuan led 3 servants away, each carrying a chest filled with primeval stones heading toward the treehouse. Both sides had obtained what they needed. After hearing the news, Aunt rushed over. She looked at the stack of house deeds and land contracts in Gu Yudong too's hands, her eyes wide and her face filled with wild joy. Master, this brat must have cultivated himself into stupidity. He actually sold these money-making assets, truly foolish. He abandoned the hen that lays eggs just for a single egg. Will you die if you don't speak? Shut your mouth, Gu Yudong too said gloomily. Master. Aunt muttered, I was only happy, do not get carried away. With this tavern and these bamboo buildings, we must act even more carefully, keep a low profile. Tall trees attract strong winds. Although Fang Zheng is our adopted son, we cannot use this relationship casually. After all, Fang Zheng has yet to mature. Who knows what might happen in the future? Gu Yudong too sighed heavily, I understand, master. Aunt listened while flipping through the property contracts, her smile so wide she could not close her mouth. But Gu Yudong too's face remained dark. Although completing this transaction meant he now had income again. And the primeval stones he spent could be replenished after 1 or 2 years of business. He did not feel the slightest joy. His mind was filled with Fang Yuan's image. For the sake of 1 relic Gu, Fang Yuan had sold his estate without hesitation. This meant he had decisively abandoned a comfortable and easy life in the future. Uncle Gu Yudong too put himself in Fang Yuan's position and asked himself whether he could do the same. He could not. Although he did not want to see Fang Yuan, although he disliked and hated him, at this moment he could not help but sigh inwardly. able to let go. Able to abandon what decisiveness. The competition is truly intense. I wonder who will be the final winners. I have stood here for 15 minutes, and more than 10 Gu masters have already placed bids into the counter. This is all a game for people with money. People like us do not even have the qualifications to compete. On the second floor of the treehouse, Gu masters surrounded the central counter, discussing and sighing one after another. As evening approached, the fight over the red steel relic Gu reached its peak. Many rank 2 Gu masters who had been secretly watching all seized this final period and began placing bids. Some Gu masters even bid several times in a row. The final winner of this battle should be either Mo Yan or Kai Shan, someone guessed. Very likely. Mo Yan and Kai Shan are both ranked 2 upper stage. After using this relic Gu, they can advance to peak stage and stand equal with King Shu. These past few years, Gu Yu King Shu has always been suppressing them. I do not believe the 2 of them have no thoughts about this. That is hard to say. It is not only us rank 2 Gu masters. Some rank 3 elders have also placed bids. This morning, someone saw Elder Yao Jai place a bid. That's right, I heard that too. Elder Yao Jai's granddaughter Gu Yu Yaola will attend this year's awakening ceremony. It seems Elder Yao Jai is preparing in advance and paving the road for her granddaughter. How good would it be if I had such a loving elder too? Fang Yuan stood among the crowd listening to everyone talk. His gaze was calm. No one mentioned his name. In everyone's eyes, Fang Yuan was only a lucky person who had recently inherited a large estate. In their impression, he was not yet qualified to be mentioned together with people like Kai Shan, Mo Yan, and King Shu. Good. The less attention they pay to me, the smoother it will be for me to obtain this red steel relic Gu. But repeatedly buying Gu worms like this should have already attracted his attention. Fang Yuan had 99% confidence in obtaining this relic Gu. He began thinking about another problem. If things continued like this and truly developed according to his expectations, then his efforts these past few days would produce a good result. The time arrived. Branches on the counter suddenly began to grow, wrapping around the relic Gu. Green leaves blocked everyone's view. When those branches and leaves opened again, the red steel relic Gu had disappeared. In its place was a turnover Gu. The turnover Gu looked like a flat stone, about the size of a palm. The top surface of the stone was slightly raised, round and smooth, forming a pattern shaped like an eye. The bottom of the stone was flat and felt very rough. The stone was black while the eye pattern was made of white lines, about every 2 seconds. The eye on the stone surface would blink, and the white lines forming the pupil would move once, giving the feeling that this stone was rolling its eyes. The effect of the turnover Gu was also very special. It targeted Gu worms and could separate a rank 2 Gu worm back into rank 1 Gu worms. For example, if Fang Yuan used the turnover Gu on his white jade Gu, it would once again become the white boar Gu and jade skin Gu. This process was called reverse refinement. Fang Yuan glanced at it and lost interest. He had no use for the turnover Gu. The Gu masters around him began to make noise. The turnover Gu could not replace the red steel relic Gu as the focus of everyone's attention. Everyone was extremely curious about who the red steel relic Gu had ultimately gone to. Some people went to find the caravan's Gu master on this floor. Others waited at the main counter. As the crowd slowly dispersed, Fang Yuan remained where he was, not moving at all. Young Master Fang Yuan, please go to the 3rd floor. Lord Gu Fu of our caravan invites you for a conversation. A voice suddenly entered Fang Yuan's ear. Fang Yuan was not surprised. In this world, there were many kinds of Gu worms capable of secretly transmitting sound. Following the instructions of the voice that continued to ring out, he went up to the 3rd floor of the treehouse and walked to a wall. The wooden wall was covered with green leaves overlapping one another, lush and vibrant. Rustle, rustle. The branches and leaves automatically parted to both sides, revealing a hidden door within. Fang Yuan pushed open the door and saw a small spiral staircase leading upward. He walked up the stairs and arrived at a study that was not very large. In the study, Gu Fu was buried in several account books, the brush in his hand moving rapidly. After hearing Fang Yuan's footsteps, he raised his head. The new scar on his face was visible as he gave a friendly smile. "Little brother Fang Yuan, we meet again. Greetings, Lord Gu Fu." Fang Yuan cupped his fists. "Come, please sit." Gu Fu pointed to the seat closest to the desk. After Fang Yuan sat down, Gu Fu used his left hand to push a stack of bamboo paper across the desk toward Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan glanced at it and immediately recognized that this stack of bamboo paper was the bidding slips he had submitted to buy Gu worms over the past few days. At the bottom of each bid slip was his own signature. Inwardly, he smiled, pleased that things were exactly as he had expected. But on the surface, he showed a puzzled expression and asked, "May I know what instruction Lord Gu Fu has for me?" The smile on Gu Fu's face faded slightly. His eyes shone brightly as he stared at Fang Yuan. "I have looked through the prices you offered these past few days, including the price you just used to buy the red steel relic Gu. To be honest, little brother, your talent for trade has startled me. Do you know this? Every price you offered was extremely close to the final transaction price these past few days. Although you only successfully bought a black boar Gu, a liquor worm, and just now a red steel relic Gu. Your offers for the other Gu worms were all only around a dozen primeval stones short of successful purchase. Little brother, are you interested in working for me?" Gu Fu began recruiting Fang Yuan, so it is indeed like this. Fang Yuan laughed inwardly. These past few days he had made many bids, and most of them were deliberately set to fail. They fell only slightly short of the final price, missing by a little over 10 primeval stones. Only 3 times had he successfully purchased something: the black boar Gu, the liquor worm, and the red steel relic Gu. Just as he wished, Gu Fu had become very interested in the trading talent he displayed, and took the initiative to recruit him. However, in truth, as long as Fang Yuan wished it, he could almost guarantee the successful purchase of every Gu worm. This. Fang Yuan hesitated for a moment, then shook his head. "Thank you for Lord Gu Fu's favor, but I do not wish to leave my clan." "Ha, is that so?" Gu Fu's eyes flashed. "Little brother may have some misunderstanding toward me. A year ago, I indeed suspected you. But after the bamboo gentleman Gu was used, your suspicion was already cleared. Gu Jinsheng was my younger brother. He is dead, and I hope you can understand what my feelings were like. I can also tell you some good news. I have invited the divine investigator Tai Zhu Leng. In his eyes, there has never been a case that could not be solved. I believe he will definitely uncover the truth. At that time, little brother, justice will be returned to you. Divine investigator Tai Zhu Leng, this is troublesome." Fang Yuan silently thought over this name. To him, this was not good news. There were many strange and marvelous investigative methods in this world. Likewise, there were many equally marvelous methods to counter investigation. When he killed Gu Jinsheng, Fang Yuan had only been rank 1. Although he knew many methods in his mind, he could not use them. In his memories, Tai Zhu Leng's cultivation was profound. He was exactly the kind of person whose eyes could not tolerate even a grain of sand. Throughout his life, he punished evil and promoted good, overflowing with a strong sense of justice. His thinking was meticulous, and he was best at finding subtle clues from traces left behind. I have long heard of the divine investigator's great name. May I ask when this divine investigator will arrive at Qing Mao Mountain? Fang Yuan made an expectant expression and asked directly, "This?" Gu Fu smiled awkwardly. "The divine investigator is very busy. According to his reply, I am afraid he will not arrive until next year." Fang Yuan immediately felt the stone in his heart settle. He still had a great deal of time to prepare. "Little brother, I think very highly of you. I hope you will seriously consider my offer," Gu Fu continued, then listed many tempting benefits. Fang Yuan politely refused. Now was still not the best time to leave Qing Mao Mountain. Without strength, entering an unfamiliar environment would inevitably bring oppression and exclusion. The merchant caravan was also filled with suppression and unspoken rules. "It is truly a pity for your talent. How about this? Take this token. If there comes a day in the future when you wish to join me, this token will serve as proof. I welcome you at any time," Gu Fu said. Gu Fu was not surprised that his recruitment failed. He deeply understood the cohesion of the clan system. If he knew now that Fang Yuan was the murderer of Gu Jinsheng, who knew what kind of expression he would have? Fang Yuan repeatedly said that he was ashamed, accepted the token, and also received the red steel relic Gu that Gu Fu gave him. After hiding both items on his body, he returned along the same path. A young female Gu master was stroking the green leaves on the wall when she suddenly let out a cry of surprise. The branches and leaves suddenly parted, revealing a door inside. The door was pushed open from within and Fang Yuan walked out expressionlessly. You. The young girl widened her eyes and stood there in a daze as Fang Yuan passed by her. Several nearby Gu masters saw this. Some remained calm as if this was nothing strange. Some smiled knowingly in secret, some looked stunned. Fang Yuan ignored all those gazes. He walked down to the second floor. Some Gu masters were still lingering there, excitedly discussing who had obtained the red steel relic Gu. Some people boldly made guesses. Others provided all sorts of rumors such as, when Mo Yan left the treehouse she seemed to be smiling mysteriously, or Kai Shan's face was pale. Some people even said outright that this person or that person had bought the relic Gu, speaking with such certainty that it sounded real. Some even swore oaths. Fang Yuan walked past this boring crowd. No one knew that at this very moment, the red steel relic Gu was so close to them. When he walked out of the treehouse, Fang Yuan encountered Kai Shan. Kai Shan's expression was indeed somewhat unpleasant. Beside him, Kai Cheng was asking around for news of the red steel relic Gu. After discovering Fang Yuan, Kai Cheng snorted coldly, turned his face away, and deliberately did not look at him. Kai Shan silently nodded to Fang Yuan as a greeting. Fang Yuan also nodded back, a faint smile on his face. The evening sunlight shone on the young man's face. He did indeed feel somewhat happy. With the red steel relic Gu, his cultivation could instantly rise by 1 level. And there was the token as well. 1 year ago, Fang Yuan had befriended Gu Jinsheng because he wanted to borrow Gu Jinsheng's identity and participate in a future Gu battle convention, gaining benefits during the chaos. Unfortunately, worldly matters were unpredictable. The final result made even Fang Yuan feel a little helplessly amused. He had personally killed Gu Jinsheng with his own hands. But without Gu Jinsheng, using Gu Fu would have the same effect. This token was already equivalent to an admission ticket for that future Gu battle convention. 3 days after the merchant caravan left the village. Inside the mountain in the stone forest, dim red light still filled the cavern. Massive stone pillars hung down from the ceiling like upside-down trees, forming a vast gray stone forest. Fang Yuan fought while retreating through the stone forest. Screech, screech, screech. A group of monkeys glared with green pupils and chased after Fang Yuan without giving up. Moon Mangu. Fang Yuan willed it and his right hand lightly slashed toward the monkey group. Whoosh. A deep blue moonblade the size of a wash basin suddenly formed. It pierced through the air and cut directly into the monkeys. A jade-eyed stone monkey leaping in midair had no way to borrow strength. It was struck by the moonblade. Before it could even scream, its entire body from head to toe was split in two by the blade. The breath of life left it. The scent of death descended. In that instant, its lively eyes turned into a pair of jade beads. As its body fell, it turned into a stone statue. Crash. With a crisp sound, the stone statue hit the ground and shattered into pieces. The moonblade only dimmed slightly. After cutting through that monkey, its momentum did not decrease. It continued to slash forward. Crack, crack, crack. After several sharp sounds, 5 or 6 more monkeys were killed on the spot. Screech, screech, screech. The tragic deaths of their companions made the monkey group even more furious. They cried out loudly, their momentum doubling as they charged fiercely at Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan faced danger without panic. His heart was calm as ice and snow. He fought while retreating. When the stone monkeys gradually closed in, he counterattacked with the moonblade. In the past, even when the moonlight Gu was strengthened by the little light Gu, one moonblade could only kill 1 or 2 monkeys. But now, with the moon Mangu, a single attack could reap the lives of 5 or 6 stone monkeys. However, there were gains and losses. To the current Fang Yuan, the moon Mangu's consumption was not small. Each moonblade consumed 10% of his red steel primeval essence. In Fang Yuan's aperture, his primeval C occupied only 44% at most. This meant that in one burst, he could release at most 4 moonblades. If I refine the 4 flavors liquor worm and refine my primeval essence, I can release 8 moonblades in a row. What a pity. Although the second liquor worm is in hand, and I have gathered 3 of the 4 fine wines, sour, sweet, bitter, and spicy, I am still missing one type. I am stuck at the final step. Fang Yuan sighed inwardly. After 3 moonblades, only 14% of his light red primeval essence remained in his aperture. To ensure safety, he did not activate the moonblade again. Instead, he urged the white jade Gu. The monkeys swarmed around him. The first monkey to charge jumped beside Fang Yuan's leg. Then it suddenly became fierce, leaping up from below and using its hard monkey head to slam into Fang Yuan's chin. Fang Yuan snorted coldly. He was about to punch this little monkey that did not know its own strength. But then he thought of something and stopped his hand, choosing to receive the attack with his chin instead. At the moment just before impact, white jade light appeared on his chin. With a muffled bang, the force rebounded. Fang Yuan could not help but tilt his head backward. The stone monkey fell to the ground, hugging its head and screaming miserably as it rolled back and forth. Without the white jade Gu, Fang Yuan's chin would definitely have been smashed. But now, aside from feeling slightly dizzy, he had no injury. However, even with the white jade Gu's defense, he still had to endure the impact force. Fang Yuan retreated several steps before the pain faded. His eyes became completely clear again. He had deliberately endured the stone monkey's headbutt just now. His purpose was to let this body become familiar with such attacks and adapt to the sensation of dizziness in the future. If he was attacked like this at a critical moment of life and death, he would be able to regain his mind faster and fight for a chance at survival. Fang Yuan's methods had always been ruthless. This ruthlessness was not only aimed at his enemies, it was also aimed at himself. Almost every 3 days, he came here to slaughter stone monkeys. His purpose was not only the flower wine traveler's inheritance. Another important purpose was to use these stone monkey groups to temper his own combat ability. The physical qualities of a Gu master, the skill of fists and feet, the primeval essence in the aperture, combat experience every Gu worm. Each of these was a factor affecting overall battle strength. Only by closely combining and unifying, these elements could one display the strongest possible battle strength. The stone monkey group was like a hammer. Fang Yuan was like an iron ingot newly taken from the furnace. Every time the hammer struck, the iron became harder, purer, and more condensed. After 15 minutes, this battle came to an end. Broken stone lay everywhere on the ground, with jade beads mixed among the fragments. This time I killed 41 jade-eyed stone monkeys, Fang Yuan already knew in his heart. Every time he recorded his battle results. From each result, he found his shortcomings and made improvements. At the same time, he used them to recognize the degree of his own progress. In the battle just now, the Moon Mangu played a very important role. 3 moonblades killed at least 17 or 18 monkeys, almost half the total number. The remaining monkeys were all beaten to death with my fists and feet. The Moonlight Gu's attack effect on the stone monkeys was not obvious. But after advancing into the Moon Mangu, it had leaped into becoming Fang Yuan's sharpest offensive method at the moment. Not only was its attack power strong, but more importantly, its efficiency was extremely high. Fang Yuan released 3 moonblades in only a few breaths of time. But if he used fists and feet to smash the stone monkeys, it would take him more than 10 minutes. These monkeys were truly hard to grasp. Their bodies were extremely agile. When the stone monkeys stood on the ground, it was very difficult to attack them with fists and feet. With one kick of their legs, they could easily flee and avoid Fang Yuan's attacks. Their only opening was when they jumped into the air and had no way to borrow strength. All the monkeys Fang Yuan killed by hand had died because he targeted this opening. But this was due to his rich combat experience. If it were another rank 2 Gu master, even someone like Kai Shan, Mo Yan, or King Shu, they would not be able to grasp the opening every time like Fang Yuan. The memories of his previous life allowed Fang Yuan to keenly seize those fleeting opportunities in battle. He could accurately use every portion of strength. Although he was only rank 2, he could bring his battle strength to its current limit. He would never be like Fang Zheng, who clearly had the jade skin Gu but on the arena, had been overwhelmed by Fang Yuan's aura and failed to display the battle strength he should have had. Of course, Fang Yuan's current cultivation was still relatively weak. Against the monkey group, he still could not charge straight in. Every time he had to fight while retreating. Fortunately, the intelligence of these monkeys was not high. They did not know how to improve their attack pattern. They had clearly seen many of their companions struck down by Fang Yuan in midair, but they still rushed at him one after another. Furthermore, when they chased Fang Yuan, if they moved too far away, their attachment to their homes would replace the anger in their hearts. Many monkeys would voluntarily give up the chase. Gu were the essence of heaven and earth. Humans were the spirit of all living things. Fang Yuan relied precisely on human intelligence to grasp the habits of the stone monkeys and use the correct tactics. Only then could he continuously penetrate deeper into the stone forest. Now he had reached the central region of the stone forest. After repeated attempts like this, Fang Yuan finally wiped out all the monkey groups in the stone pillars around this area. At this moment before his eyes, there hung one final stone pillar. It was the largest stone pillar in this entire stone forest. It could be called the king of the stone pillars. Even 50 people would not be able to wrap their arms around it. The stone pillar hung down from the cavern ceiling, almost touching the ground. In the silence, it faintly emitted a majestic and imposing aura. Fang Yuan counted the stone holes on it and made a rough estimate. There had to be at least 500 stone monkeys. This was the largest monkey group he had encountered so far. But to Fang Yuan, more jadeite stone monkeys only meant a little more trouble. At most, he would spend more time and fight a few more rounds. What truly made his gaze focus was a stone hole at the highest layer. The opening of this stone hole was larger than any surrounding hole, at least twice as large. The stone holes beneath it were arranged tightly, like stars gathering around the moon or 100 birds paying court to the phoenix. It seems there is a monkey king inside that stone hole, Fang Yuan frowned. This was the real problem. As long as a beast group grew large enough, a beast king would be born. In a wild boar herd, there was a wild boar king. In a stone monkey group, there would naturally be a stone monkey king. The threat of a beast king was many times greater than that of an ordinary wild beast. The reason was that one or two goo worms were parasitizing on their bodies. Between beast kings and these goo worms existed a cooperative, symbiotic relationship. Once the beast king was attacked, the goo worms would also do their utmost to help. This jadeite stone monkey king should not be too strong. At the very least, it is weaker than the wild boar king. Otherwise, the surrounding monkey groups would have been subdued by it long ago. Based on his experience, Fang Yuan silently estimated the stone monkey king's strength. Generally speaking, the larger the beast group, the stronger the beast king. A weak beast king did not have the ability to command a large number of its own kind. If one roughly divided the strength of beast kings according to the scale of their beast groups, then from low to high, they could be divided into 100 beast kings, 1,000 beast kings, and myriad beast kings. The wild boar king that the six-snake team had once surrounded and killed was 1,000 beast king. The number of wild boars it commanded reached more than 1,000. The stone monkey king before Fang Yuan was 100 beast king. It only had several hundred stone monkeys under its command. The Thunder Crown Wolf, the main culprit behind the Wolf Tide, was a myriad beast king. Every Thunder Crown Wolf commanded at least 10,000 lightning wolves. The strength gap between these three types of beast kings was enormous. 1,000 beast king usually required 3 small teams working together to hunt. The reason the six-snake team could deal with the wild boar king was that there was an important favorable condition. The wild boar king had already been heavily injured. A myriad beast king required the clan elders and the clan leader to work together before they could confront it head-on. As for 100 beast king, one ordinary 5-man team would be enough to handle it safely. However, to deal with this stone monkey king, Fang Yuan obviously could not rely on outside help. He could only rely on his own strength. Rank 2 initial stage primeval essence will not be enough. It seems this is the time to use the red steel relic Gu. Fang Yuan stared at the stone hole for a moment, then returned to the second secret room and closed the stone door. If what blocked him had been 1,000 beast king like the wild boar king, Fang Yuan would not even have needed to think. He would have chosen to retreat. But now it was only 100 beast king. If Fang Yuan had ranked 2 middle stage cultivation, he could try. Of course, what the result would be was impossible to say. Even if he advanced to middle stage, the chance of failure was still 70 to 80%. His chance of success was less than 30%.